feels really good.
Today on In the Wood Yard, we're going to talk about the 10 top boiler wood myths. Here we go. So when it comes to boiler wood, there's a lot of people that think if it fits, it's good. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there are ways to burn less wood and burn more efficiently. We're going to talk about those. Efficiently burning wood means that you're going to burn wood that burns better with less heat going up the stack. You want it to go in to the house, not up the stack. We're going to talk about that. So number one is that you run out of wood, because that happens. People don't prepare properly. You don't want to run out of wood. That's a mistake, is number one. Then the myth is that, well, I'll burn the same amount every year. No, there's some years you burn a lot more, and there's some years you burn less. And you could get hurt, and you might not be able to go get more wood. So having your wood prepared ahead of time, ready to go, is a smart move. That's important. And that brings us to number two. And number two is that you wait too long to get your wood. You think, oh, you know, I can get it in the summer, I can get it in the fall, and then all of a sudden it's winter. And what can happen is you can get a lot of snow, at least we can here in Wisconsin. I have had customers that come to me and say, I need to buy wood from you because I can't get at my wood. There's, 3 feet of snow and our driveway at our cabin's not plowed and I can't get into it to go get a load of wood. So making sure you're prepared is huge. And you don't want to wait too long because you want your wood, you want to have enough wood. You don't want to run out of time, and you want to make sure it's going to be dry enough to burn, even though, yeah, you can burn anything. You can burn wet wood in a boiler. Doesn't mean you should. And if you cut late, you're not going to have much of a dry time. So cutting early, like a year early, is the smart move. 2 years early. Have your stock built up so that you've got plenty of it. And that brings up number three. People that have boilers tend to get into the habit or belief that your wood doesn't have to be dry. And we're going to talk about that at the end of the video. We're going to go visit my buddy Tony later today, and he's going to show us his wood boiler he has. It's a high efficiency gasification stove, and he said there's a huge difference between burning dry wood and wet wood. He's done both, and he said he goes through way more wood to heat the house when it's green or not dry wood. When the wood is, 25, 26, 30% moisture, sure, you can put it in and it'll burn eventually because you got to burn all that moisture off in the form of steam going up. But then when it's gone, you're out of wood and you got to cut more wood. If you have dry wood, you're going to generally burn about 30% less wood, and it's going to burn more efficiently and you're going to get more heat from it. So in reality, you're doing less work because you don't have to cut as much wood. But then there are people that will cut wood and burn it green thinking that it's going to burn anyway. They just throw it in, so they think they're saving time. And they probably are. Maybe they're saving some labor, but you're not burning efficiently. So that's a big mistake or myth. Another big mistake or myth is that if you've got a boiler, you're independent. You don't have to worry about anybody else for your heat. You don't have to worry about the gas company or the electric company. But yeah, you do, because if you've got a boiler, it runs on electricity. And if your electricity's out, then what do? And another thing you got to realize with a boiler, they need to be fed daily, multiple times a day. Some people have to feed their boiler 3 times a day. Most people it's 2 times a day. Some people can get away with once a day, but still, you got to be there to feed it. And if you're not there to feed it and you're gone and you don't get back in time, or if someone doesn't show up to feed it for you, you're going to have cold house and possibly frozen pipes. So you're kind of a slave to the boiler. You got to make sure you keep it fed, or you got to have a backup plan or a backup electric heat or a backup gas or oil heater. You have to have something to make sure that you're not going to have frozen pipes. So you're not really that independent. Really, you create a job is what happens. If you burn on average, let's just say 5 full cords a year in your boiler. So you think you got to have 5 full cords. And I mentioned this a little earlier. You can have a very severe, very long winter, and you might need 6, 7, 8 cords of wood because you burn a lot. And there could be another year where you only burn 3. You gotta be prepared. It's like, the old Boy Scout thing. Be prepared. Make sure you got enough so that when you have problems, you're covered. Make sure you got plenty of wood. And make sure you got way more than you think you're gonna need and have some extra. And you may even help a friend out if you got extra wood sometime because they ran out. Extra wood is good. Number 6 is the boiler's cleanliness. How full of ash is it? This is a good one. I see a lot of boilers, guys that I stop and visit, and they've got ashes all mounded up. Not coals, ashes all mounded up in their boiler. And half the space of the boiler is taken up with ashes because they don't clean it out. And your stove's going to work better if you clean it out, keep it empty from ash, and then make sure everything burns completely. Keeping it clean is going to allow you to get more wood in so it can burn more efficiently, and you can get more heat out of it. So a full boiler of wood works better than half a boiler full of wood and half ash. So clean your boiler out. I see a lot of that, guys have big piles. Same is true with any wood burner. If you got a wood burner and you got a big mountain of ash in there that you just keep shoving to the back and it gets all full and it's falling out, clean your ash. There's a lot of people like this, and it's not just boiler people, people in general. They're wood snobs. I know guys that will only burn one kind of wood because they think it's the best. And it might be in their area, but there's a lot of wood that's perfectly good that will burn good in a boiler. A lot of wood. Now, a lot of people tend to be what I call oak snobs. People that think, oh, oak is the best because we got oak and my grandpa burned oak and my dad burned oak and oak. I hear that all the time. And yeah, oak's good wood. It produces 23 to 24 million BTUs, and there's other wood that's better. Locust is better. I'm talking what we have here in my area. Locust is better, hickory's better, ironwood's better. They're all hard maples, as good if not better. They're all good wood. They all burn great. And then it goes the other direction. They won't burn anything that's not going to put out at least what oak does, 23, 24 million BTUs, and they turn their nose up at a lot of other wood, which is very good wood. It burns great. Yeah, it might not put out as much heat, but it's every bit as good as far as fire, because wood burns, all wood burns. So you got your lower grade woods as far as BTUs, but they're not that much lower. A lot of people frown on soft maple. Well, soft maple puts out like 18 million BTUs. Cherry, about the same. Box elder, about the same. A lot of pine. Red pine will put out about the same. Jack pine puts out about the same. All in that, 17, 18, 19, 20 million BTU range. There's a lot of wood that is in that range, and it's only a little bit less heat output than oak. So all wood burns, and wherever you are, you're going to burn what you have. Like in Alaska, a lot of places, they have two kinds of wood. They have spruce and birch. A lot of places in Europe have spruce and birch. So that's what they burn. And they're okay wood. Same as any other wood, it burns. So you burn what you have. But yeah, if you can get better wood, do that. But a good mix is nice too. I actually like to burn all kinds of wood. And I find that when I put wood on, it all burns. So there's that. So you have your higher end wood as far as your heat. You've got, in my area, where I am here, we've got ironwood, we've got hard maple, we've got yellow birch, we've got oak, hickory, locust. They're all good woods on your higher end. Now I know there's other wood that's better. There is Osage orange, which we don't have here. There's other woods like almond wood or pecan wood. Nut trees generally produce a lot of really good heat, so they're good. Fruit trees produce a lot of heat. They're good. Pine trees, you know what? Pine burns. Yeah, you're going to have to put in more often. Same as aspen. Aspen's a wood that's lighter and it's going to burn faster and not put out as much heat, but it still puts out heat. So your really low wood would be like your willow, basswood, balsam, butternut, cedar, stuff like that. They're going to be in the low teens as far as BTUs, but it still burns. And then you go to your mid-range stuff, which is anything, around 20, 21, 22 million BTUs, and that's going to be the stuff like birch, soft maple, hemlock, walnut, stuff like that. It's good wood. It all burns. Then you go to the better wood, which is going to be your nut trees. It's going to be your oaks, your almonds, your pecan wood. It's going to be the hickory. It's going to be the stuff that's better. Then you go to the wood that's really, really good. That is the stuff that's super dense. I know down south, they have post oak that produces, I think it's 36 million BTU. So those of you that think your Osage orange is special because it produces 33 or 34 million BTUs, post oak's even better. And then we have ironwood, which is like 28, 29 million BTUs. Hickory, which is like 27. Locust is around 27, 28, somewhere in there. So all really good wood. It all burns. So besides being a wood snob, I'm only liking one kind. The next one is that there's a lot of people that think only hardwood. I can only burn hardwood. No, pine burns too, especially in a boiler. And a lot of people think, oh, pine will clog up your chimney, you're gonna get creosote, you're gonna get soot. No. Out west, that's pretty much all they have is pine. Some of the states out to the west, they have ponderosa pine, lodgepole pine, and pinyon pine. That's all they have. And that's what they burn. And you know what? If it was so bad, you'd have houses burning to the ground every 5 minutes, because there's people that burn pine because that's what they have. So burn what you have. And if you got pine, burn pine. Just make sure it's dry like any other wood. Dry is good, dry is better. Dry wood burns more efficiently, produces more heat, and is easier on all the equipment. It's just better for everything, dry wood. And if you don't know how to dry wood, get a moisture meter. Test it so you know. Whether it's time, whether it's your size of your splits, all that kind of stuff. Burn dry wood. And some people will use their lower grade woods for warmer days, where they know they don't have to have, the really, really high grade wood in. A lot of people call it the shoulder season. So it'll be your springtime and your fall time, when you get days that maybe are in the 40s and 50s and 60s, but at night it cools down. So they'll burn the wood types that maybe aren't quite as good. They'll burn the popple or aspen, or they'll burn pine, or they'll burn box elder. They'll burn the stuff that's not super high grade wood. And that's what it's good for. And if that's what works for you, do that. Some people like to mix it all together and burn a variety of things all at once, which makes sense. And then there's other people that, like I said, they become the wood snob and all they want to do is that one kind of wood, always. That's fine. But especially if you can get some free wood somewhere that you don't have to pay for, or somebody delivers it to you, tree service, don't be picky. Take what you can get and burn it, because all wood burns. There's the theme here, I think. All wood burns, that's it. They think that the wood does not have to be dry. It can be fresh cut from a live tree, thrown right in, and yes, it'll burn, but not very good. And they think, well, yeah, but you put that wet stuff, the fresh green stuff in there, and it'll burn all night long. Yeah, it burns all night long because it's not burning very good. It's smoldering. You want it to actually burn. And if you got a decent wood stove, whether it's a stove in your house or a boiler, it'll have a damper on it. You can control it, how fast it burns, how slow it burns with the damper. By putting wet wood in, you're kind of defeating the whole purpose, is that you want to get as much heat as possible out of it. You did all the work to cut the wood, or buy the wood, or whatever it is you're doing. You might as well get the most for it. Burn it when it's dry. On my channel, I have a lot of people that will say to me, oh, the wood you have there, it's so small, it's just kindling. You got to have the big stuff. A lot of people think you have to have stuff this size or chunks like this for a boiler. Yeah, that's fine. If it's dry, you can see this one's cracked all the way through here. This is my brother's woodshed, and he has had this wood in here now for 2 years. Most of his wood is 3 to 4 years before he burns it. So he fills a section, burns a section. So this is all stuff that's been in here for 2 years now. And I know that the hardest thing is just rotating your stock, making sure it's close enough. He also has a whole bunch of wood over there you can see in those piles. And that's what he takes from when it's open. And then when it gets to be the hard part of winter, he burns this stuff because it's closer and it's faster to put it in, and this stuff he knows is dry. So he'll try to clear out one of these sections here this winter and then go to the other stuff. But he has wood of this size because that works for him, because he dries it for plenty long. But when it comes to putting pieces in, I know my buddy Tony, we're going to see him later like I mentioned, he cuts his stuff down to hand-sized pieces. So when he's splitting his stuff, nothing's going to be much bigger than this right here. About this size, maybe this size right here. These two sizes. That's about, and like right here, this is about the size of stuff he has. This size right here, he does not have, because he doesn't want it sitting for more than about a year. By splitting it smaller, he says he actually gets more wood in his boiler. And we're going to show you that later. And I'm going to do that with this boiler. We're going to fill it up in just a little bit. Big wood, a lot of times you can only get a couple pieces in, maybe 4 or 5. Whereas if it's smaller, you can fit a lot more volume of wood in. And I've done videos on that in the past, that with smaller wood, you can actually get more wood into it. So the number one thing is, I would say, there's really 2 things that are number one. So there's 2 number ones here. The myth that you have to have big wood for the boiler, and if it fits, it'll burn. Yeah, it will, but smaller, you can actually fit more wood in. If you split it smaller, it's going to be drier faster. It's going to be more efficient, so you'll go through less wood. So bigger is not necessarily better when it comes to firewood. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to argue with me about that, but all wood burns. Size doesn't really matter. What matters is that it's dry and that you have good access to it and you got plenty of it and you can fit it in your boiler or wood stove and you can put as much in as you want to get in there. I know my dad, when he was still burning wood, he had a wood stove and he hurt his shoulder and he couldn't lift up the big huge pieces. He had monster pieces. I mean, he would consider all these small. This would be too small for him. Like, I know my dad, like something like this size right here, he would consider that to be like even too small. Twice as big would be better. So he'll take like a 18-inch round and split it in half, and that's good. But he couldn't lift them anymore and fit them in because he had a deeper stove, so he had to put a piece to the back, 2 pieces actually, and then 2 pieces out front. And he couldn't do it anymore. So I brought him a couple trailer loads full of small stuff that was stuff you could grab with one hand, because that's all he could use is really one hand, and he could fill his whole stove up. And he told me, he says, man, he says, that small stuff was awesome. I could pack the wood stove really tight. It was easy to get in there. He goes, I think I can get actually more wood in the stove with the small stuff than I did the big stuff. And it burned just as long, if not longer. I said, yeah, I know. Told you. So there's that. Let's put some wood in this boiler over here. It's been making noises. So this is my brother's classic central boiler here. He's had this the whole time he's had the house. This came with the house. So we're going to open it up, and I don't know if there's any wood in there. Oh, look at that. Somebody came out and put some in. I didn't even know that anybody put some wood in here. So you can see it in there. It's starting to burn. Somebody put it in just a little while ago, just before I came out. There you can see the flame taking off now that I opened it up. So yeah, he's got a pretty big boiler. I'm going to put some more on here. It's cold out today, and I'm just going to fill it up. So I'm just going to throw in a whole bunch of stuff from this. Just going to fill her up. This is mostly ash is what I'm putting in here. We had cut a whole bunch of ash last year and the year before. I think we cut, I don't know how many full cords, like 10 full cords, something like that. I'll do one more. Let's see if I can get this one in here. Oh yeah, there we go. Beautiful. Oh, that feels good. You gotta like it. There you go, people. So I'm here at my old best friend Tony's place, and he happens to have a gasification wood boiler, which is the kind that sells everywhere now.
That's the more popular one now for EPA standards. In fact, in some places, you can't get the old style one that'll burn anything, including tires.
Because they won't sell them there, right?
Correct, yeah.
And because we are in Wisconsin, and we are one of how many states? There's a few states where you can, if it burns coal, if it's a coal state,
right.
So I understand it, you can burn anything.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
As long as your neighbors are okay with it.
Well, that's it. The plume of black smoke on their laundry if they put it outside in the Amish country. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah. So what's different about this versus a traditional or old style boiler?
They're going to say a lot. I find not that much. Now, I try to burn as dry a wood as I can.
Because it does make a difference.
Yes, it makes a huge difference, especially on the inside.
And that's the thing that a lot of people on my channel, they make comments like, I got a boiler, I burn anything. Live trees, dead trees.
If you have an
animal
older
carcasses, in-laws, you know, whatever.
That's it, for sure.
Which, yeah, you can, but that doesn't mean you should, right?
Well, that's exactly it, yeah. And these burn more efficiently. You're going to burn more wood on the old ones than this one here.
30% more. This is the number I've heard from a lot of professional installers and sellers of these. 30% more wood, because 30% of your heat is going that way.
That's
right?
correct.
Out of there.
Yep.
Because you got to boil off, burn off.
You have to burn off all the moisture.
Into vapor.
Right.
It's got to go out. It's got to go outside. It's not going into your heating system. It's got to burn that off, so you're not burning efficiently.
That's exactly. And this one here, on the bottom here, the window is, I need to clean this out, but the window there, you can open it up and you can see the gasification going through here.
So it's basically reburning is what it is.
It's taking that smoke, bringing it back in, and burning that up again.
Which is similar to what happens in a smokeless stove, like the
identical to that. It goes around and gets reburned again. Yeah. But I've had this for going on 5 years now, and I'm very, very happy with it. I want to say that I burn approximately 8 cords.
Full cords or face cords?
Full cords.
Full cords. That's still
8 full cords. Though. Well,
and you got your big shop.
The shop. Now, I don't heat the shop all the time, but when I'm inside there, it has a 200,000 BTU heater, so 20 minutes, it's toasty warm in there.
Plus, how big? foot wise?
36 by 54.
So it's a nice.
So it's a larger.
It's got high ceilings, so
high,
it's a bunch of
14-foot ceiling. So yeah, but it'll get it to 60 in no time at all.
Right.
In fact, it's too hot.
And if you put in good dry wood, we're talking in the teens percentage-wise, and not big massive pieces, you can actually warm everything up faster, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So,
now here's the one thing, like you had pointed out multiple times before. I split all my wood because I use I do bundle wood. I very often, or not often, do I make boiler wood, right. But like you pointed out, the bundle wood stacked together is equal to all those huge chunks everywhere. Yes, it's more convenient to toss in, but sometimes you need a good coal bed at the bottom. That's the key, is you need that coal bed. And that all depends on what type of wood you use. Because the coal that it's made on poplar is nothing. On oak, it's good. Soft maple, not the greatest. But so I look for the coal factor too, because that thing, I don't have to keep starting the fire all over again multiple times.
Right. My brother Ken says that most of the people he sells wood to that have boilers, they love the hard maple because it holds the coals so well.
That's it. And there's a chart just like the BTU. It's the same. It'll tell you good, poor, or excellent, whatever.
Right. The good thing is all wood burns. So.
That is true.
So
even pine.
So let's take a look at this thing.
Okay.
Okay. So tell me all about this thing.
Well, it's super easy. It's actually working right now. It's calling for heat. So we're going to see a flame when I open a door, and it's not always the greatest to open it up, but since we wanted to do it. So I have a smoke bypass, which I'm telling you, if you're buying an outdoor wood boiler, spend the extra money for the bypass. Otherwise, you're going to get a plume of smoke in your face.
So you're going to open it up.
So I'm just going to open this up.
And then
it'll start going up there. I hold this open because I've had it sometimes where it bursts open. Flames come right out.
So you kind of take your time, huh? Oh, it feels good. I like it. So you always put your wood in kind of horizontally?
I put it in horizontally instead of the long way. There's a blocks, or should I say stones in there. I don't know what material it is. But as you can see now, it's coming right out. Let's close this for just 1 second. And I want to show you one thing about, I'm burning not the greatest of wood right now, unfortunately. I had some pieces, so I got to get rid of it. So it's probably in the double digits as far as 25 to 30, which is not the greatest.
No.
But I'll show you what happens here. If I can get it. Oh, I guess we can't get it. But there's a creosote.
Oh yeah, I can see it up in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely creosote. You can see it on your door. Now, when you burn really dry wood, you get much more.
Oh, there's virtually nothing.
Right.
But the way I take care of that real quickly is I have a bunch of cardboard.
Oh,
and I put a bunch of pieces of cardboard in there.
Burn it off.
It burns it off quickly.
Couldn't you also do that with, like, say, popple or pine or a fast burning wood, small kindling type stuff?
You could, but the cardboard is the best that I found.
You got to get rid of it, and it works.
Well, there's something called slip sheets. And when people import products into the United States, they have to put these cardboard. They're beautiful. They're 48 by 40.
Yeah.
And I just cut one of those, two or three of them, put them in here, and it just burns up and just takes care of all the creosote.
Nice. Your ashes go in your big bin here, right?
Right. When I clean out, I have that 55 is full of it. But what I also use this for is my driveway.
Got it.
I put it on the driveway when it's super icy in February and March.
Yeah, nice. So do you think if you were burning wet wood, do you think you're gaining, by burning the dry wood, you're gaining the 30% more efficiency?
If I was burning, I know I'm burning more wood with this wet wood now than I am. And I can tell that by how many IBC totes I have to bring up here.
Sure.
This spring, I hope to have a shed built over here so I don't have to keep getting the IBC totes.
Well, I know some people that have boilers, they say, well, I can just put whole big chunks in there, green wood and everything, but you got to cut 30 to 40% more wood to feed it.
That's exactly
it.
So
yeah, maybe you're doing less work on the splitting and drying, but you're actually doing more work to cut more wood.
You know what?
Either way,
You're
you pay
chasing
the
your
piper.
tail any way you look at it.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thanks. All right, we'll close her up and enjoy the heat. That's all I got for today, folks. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. I'll be here with another video for you. Right now, go watch all the other videos. There's 1,700 waiting for you right now. Good night, Irene.